Hi, I'm Michael Quigley from Catalyst. I'm on a mission to help a billion people, and I would love to help you if this is you. So, are you a parent and sometimes you struggle between balancing out your career and feelings of guilt as a parent? So, I want to help you with that exactly in this video with some stories from my time as a teacher and also working in business. Now, first thing, I'm not a parent, right? So, I'm not going to try and give you parental advice. That's not what this is. This is something more to hopefully inspire and affirm just how well you're actually doing, some real life examples. So, I used to be a primary school teacher. And I want to tell you two quick stories around that and to help you with these feelings. Sometimes you have of guilt or I'm not quite doing enough, or I've not quite got the balance. So it was my first ever parents' evening, and I had a girl in my class, so we'll call her Sarah. And Sarah was just amazing. She'd do anything. You ask her to work hard, she'd work hard, be friendly, really just the perfect girl to have in your class. And she was great. So I was really looking forward to telling the parents exactly that, right? So, and I was quite shocked by how it went. So we had the parents' evening, you speak to all the different parents, and mum and dad came in, and I was very, happy to give them some good news. And they said, "Well, how's she getting on?" The dad didn't seem too happy. And I remember telling him she's absolutely brilliant, gushing praise, telling her how fantastic she was, and I thought that was great. And I'll never forget the dad's response. He said to me, "Well, I'm sure I'm glad to hear she's great for you because she's a nightmare at home." And I was shocked. I was like, "What, Sarah?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I remember just being shocked by that. And I didn't quite understand because I thought this girl, this child is fantastic at school. How could she possibly be a nightmare at home? Right. So that's the first story. And then several years later, I was talking to another parent, again, of a girl in my class. And this girl was a bit different. She was very creative. She was brilliant, sometimes struggled with following the rules. And I remember talking to the mum, and she's like, "Mr. Quigley, will you tell off our Mary? Because she listens to you." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, she's just awful at home and she won't go to bed. And it's like 11 p.m. at night. She's jumping up and down on her bed. I'm saying you need to go to bed. What would Mr. Quigley say?" Apparently that worked. So I said, "Look, I can't do that. I can't tell a child off or, reprimand them for something that happened at home several days ago. It's not how this works." And the point she was trying to make was that, the child listened to me, and it was almost opposite end of the spectrum. But it was the same thing that the parents were having to deal with. And what they're trying to deal with was basically that the children work so hard at school, trying to be brilliant at school. They treat it like a job. They would give everything. So whether it's Sarah or Mary, they both tried really, really hard. So the point I'm making is by the time they came home, they're exhausted. And that's what the dad was trying to tell me. That's what the first parent was trying to tell me, that they just need to let it out. And I remember speaking to my mum about this, and she was a teacher, and she wanted to understand. She said, "Yeah, that's perfectly normal." And it makes sense, doesn't it? Because you can't have a child try really hard at school and then come home, try really hard at home. Where do they let it out? Where do they, you know, let out the stress, as it were? And this is something I want to hopefully affirm you with, especially if you've got teenagers, is that they need that space to just kind of let it out, right? And so if they're angry, if they're upset, if they're testing the rules, it doesn't mean you're doing anything bad. If anything, it means you're doing something exactly right. Because if they don't let it out, if they internalize it, if they don't slob around, or if they don't just chill like we all do when we have our moments, we need to just relax or take it easy, then they're kind of like got a lot of pressure, And I saw the converse with this at school as well. I used to see children that wouldn't work hard at school and would go home trying to impress their parents. So that can be an opposite problem. So if you feel any sense of like guilt, as to my children are like this at home, maybe you could readdress that a little bit and say, I'm providing a safe environment for my children to have a place to relax, to kick up a bit of a fuss if they need to have a bit of a wobble, especially if they're younger children, because it's quite hard for children to go and perform really hard at school and work hard and then come home and then kind of like, transition back into being a child mode. And they used to find that quite difficult. And I remember a lot of parents used to say that to me. So I really want you to think about that. And hopefully that can help you to feel better, right? Because think about yourself. If you're a working parent, you're working hard and you come home and obviously you've got children as well. And be kind to yourself because just like the children need that time to decompress and just kind of let it out, you need that as well. You can't expect yourself to have like a double job that never ends. Yeah. So if you're feeling a little bit guilty sometimes because you raise your voice at your child or you stick in front of an iPad or whatever, please be kind to yourself and recognize that just like the children need that space to just kind of let it out, So do you. But then obviously the extra layer as a parent is you can't just act like a child in front of the children because they need you to lead them, don't they? You know, I always say to all my clients or people I work with that are parents, you guys are some of the best examples of leaders that I've ever seen because you're influencing people positively every single day. All right. So hopefully that those little funny little stories, they help you to maybe just look at it a little bit differently. So especially at this time of year, if you're watching this, I'm making this in September. So this is a time of year a lot of people struggle with, it's back to work, back to school, routines, got to get it all right. Give yourself that little bit of wiggle room, give yourself those transitions, or maybe just think about it a little bit differently. So what did Mike say? Yeah, it's true. I can't expect my child to be, perfect all the time. I can't expect that from myself as a parent. We're going to be a bit kinder to ourselves, and you maybe even have those conversations. Say, you worked hard at school today. Yeah, me too. Let's chill out. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe to Catch Ellis and let me know what are some of the things that you find overwhelming, you feel a little bit guilty about. A lot of it is because you have high standards. So maybe try and be, as I try to be, kind to myself, be kind to yourself. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. Take care, and I'll see you soon.